Greetings, folks. John Grace, President, Investors Advantage, where the money doctor is in. We're going to talk about a couple of things today. One of the things that often comes up from our clients in the form of questions are the differences between the retirement accounts. And how can you put money in one position, and what's the difference between a 401k and a 403b and an IRA and a SEP and a Roth IRA. We'll touch on a couple of those things. And we'll also talk about what we're calling the 7 sins in retirementology. So, interesting to note that in 39 of 50 states, the highest paid state employee happens to be the college basketball coach or the college football coach. Now, hats off to them, according to The Economist. I wish I were one of those, but they must be having a wonderful time with all that energy and all those kids. So when we look at the income that people have, what really drives the kind of account that they might have in terms of a retirement account is all dependent upon where that income is coming from. So, for example, if you're an Amgen employee, you have a 401k. And if you're at a college or university, you have a 403b. And in both cases, when you leave the employment of those companies or those organizations, you can often roll that money over into an IRA without a taxable event, which makes all the sense in the world. We'll talk about what to do with it when it stays in the 403b, the 401k as well. But if we look at the language that the government uses, it's qualified versus non-qualified, which effectively means taxed versus not taxed yet. Okay, so a qualified account would be similar to a bank account, or let's say a mutual fund that would be in your individual name, and you may have interest or dividends, or certainly interest from the bank account, and then if it's a mutual fund, there may be interest, dividends, and capital gains from that individual mutual fund. And that would happen whether or not you're taking out money. The retirement accounts are really designed so that sometimes you get tax-deferred growth. Well, you always get tax-deferred growth. Sometimes you get tax-free income for a period of time from your employer, and then you start paying taxes when you take the withdrawals, let's say after 59 and a half. Before that is typically a 10% penalty. So if you're an employee at a college and you are self-employed, and let's say you're also an employee at Amgen again, you could have an account for all three because you have different sources of income, which means that you have a different retirement account for each source of those incomes. Okay, so let's draw a little larger picture, because if we look back at 2007, just 7 years ago, we find that about 70% of retirees say that they were very or somewhat comfortable in their retirement goals. In fact, they thought they were on track. That's dropped a bit. The economy's gotten stronger, but today, 2014, we find that 67% of the same retirees feel that they are on track. Then we look a little further and we find that only 17% indicate that they are on track to replace 80% of their income that they're earning today, or an amount that they have created, in other words, a goal that they have. So what that would suggest, if only 17% feel that they're on track, that might suggest that 83%, which might be you, or people you know, or all of the above, don't have a clue. We're going to suggest that you get a clue, and we'll be more specific about that as we try to get this accomplished to you. But we want to also say that you want to plan for a 20-year retirement. That's a good goal that the U.S. News World Report suggests if you retire to age 67. Average age of death in the U.S. is about 79, so if we take 67 plus 20, that'd get you well past 79. We really like to make it 100. That's a tall order, but also getting to 100 is a tall order. We just don't want to make sure, we do want to make sure you don't run out of money before you run out of time. So let's look at the 7 sins of investor behavior. Greed would be 1, panic would be 2, conformity would be 3, naivete would be 4, apathy would be 5, arrogance would be 6, and passivity would be 7. We're going to suggest if you want to take $40,000 out, you need to put $1 million away today. Now, if this is 10, 20 years, obviously the number needs to go up. But what's your target? We're going to suggest you figure that out. Number 2, we're going to suggest that you sign up today. Start saving somewhere. Look at the retirement accounts that are available at your employer. That's a great way to begin. And then number 3, look for disciplined allocation objectives. In other words, you're too busy to manage your 401k or 403b, and now we have tools that allow those kinds of things to happen on your behalf automatically while you're too busy. And with that, John Grace, the Money Doctor, is out.